Hello, everyone. It's time for Vanishing Island Stories, the podcast. I'm your host, Pete Costanis. This is episode 295, season 12. Today's date is January 9th, 2023, and welcome to the program. On today's show, I will talk about the 50th anniversary of the TV sitcom Happy Days, and I will share my memories, and I will talk about the history of the show. Plus, watching it on TV in Chicago and its reruns. And then I will talk about Zimmerman's Cut Rate Liquor Store that was located in Chicago. And I'll talk about its history of that place. Okay. Right now, the program will go into a commercial break. And this program is brought to you by Boratine Plus Bleach Substitute. I remember this. And here's a commercial from 1977. So sit back and relax, and I'll be right back with the show, folks. Thank you.
Oh, the morning after. Beef stew splotched onto your colors. Chocolate sauce soaked into your synthetic fibers. You need your detergent and Boratine Plus, the bleach substitute. It's strong stain relief for clothes you can't bleach. Take it instead of light-duty bleach and instead of chlorine bleach, because it's safe.
Honey, don't forget the Johnson's taco party tonight.
Boratine Plus for strong stain relief.
Okay, everyone, I am back. I hope you enjoyed the commercial for Boratine Plus. This product's not around anymore. Boratine sort of is around. I don't know. It's in a different different. It's just different, I don't know. You can find it at Walmart or Amazon if you ordered it. I don't know. It's just they don't advertise it on TV. I haven't seen it, so I remember that. So, but first it was Boratine, then they changed it to Boratine Plus. So it's a bleach substitute, and you use it for your colors, when you do your laundry. That product's been around for many years, so it's really a color safe powder bleach. So that's basically what it is. So that commercial is very entertaining. You can find it on YouTube if you like. Okay. At the beginning of the program, I mentioned I'm going to talk about the 50th anniversary of the TV show Happy Days, and I'll share my memories of that show. And also I'll talk about Zimmerman's Cut Rate Liquor Store in Chicago. Before I get started, I want to mention one thing. This coming weekend, it's my reunion, class reunion, which is Corrales Elementary. That's a grade school. 47 years since I graduated. Oh, my God. It took so long. I am nervous and excited. A couple people have texted me recently. They're telling me we're looking forward to it. We're very happy. We're excited. And this will be the first time since 1977 we're all going to be together in one room. So according to some people, I think we got a good count. We had 23 kids in our class in 8th grade. Last I heard there was 20 that was coming. I know 3 aren't coming, but there's some kids that didn't graduate with us, but they will be there. That's what I assume. So hopefully it'll be a good turnout, and I think it will be. So this will be fun. I've been begging for years. I started this on Facebook of getting a reunion started. Maybe about 10 years ago. We got to get a reunion. We got to get a reunion. I did this every year. Nothing. Everyone says, yeah, we're interested. We'll do it. Nothing. Then one of the classmates calls me. He's not from on Facebook, and he says, "We got to get Pete. We got to get a reunion." I said, "Okay, fine." We got together and we discussed it with other people, and that took about a year or two. But then last year we finally did it. We set the date, the place. It's all set. You know, I'll see it when I believe. I'll see it when I get there. And then it'll be confirmed, and then I'll be like in awe. It'll be sort of surreal, and hopefully it'll be fun. And there's going to be a lot of hugging, crying, screaming, shaking hands. Hugs. It'd be nice. Really nice. We're all 60 years old. When we graduated, we were like 13 or 14. That's a long time ago. Luckily, most all of us are alive, so that's good to know. Except one person, but that's remarkable. Hopefully, but I've heard we might plan a second one in the summer. We'll see. I'm looking forward to that. All right. Right now, I'm going to talk about the 50th anniversary of the TV show Happy Days. I'll give you its history of the show and my memories. So let's get started. Happy Days premiered on January 15th, 1974 on ABC, a half-hour sitcom. And it was set in the 50s in the Midwest, in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And it starred the Cunningham family. And the stars were Ron Howard, Tom Bosley, Marion Ross, and Aaron Moran. And they played, so you have Howard Cunningham, Marion, the mother. You have Richie Cunningham, and you have Joni Cunningham. Also, there was Chuck. I don't know what happened to Chuck. He appeared on the first season, then the second season, and then he just disappeared. He just faded into oblivion. He was gone, and then they just like he didn't exist, which is bizarre. You think the audience is kind of dumb to not to notice that. I don't know. I guess he wasn't useful in the show. I mean, because I'll get to that in a second. Why? It reminds me of Family Matters. With the youngest daughter that starred Urkel. Anyway, so the show ran for 255 seasons. No, episodes. Excuse me. 11 seasons. It was created by Gary Marshall. He's the man responsible for creating a lot of shows. For example, there's spin-offs. Like after Happy Days was Laverne and Shirley. There was Mork and Mindy. There was others. That was a spin-off. And that. And there were many others like that. Also Taxi, but it wasn't a spin-off. No. I think he created it. I could be wrong. No, I don't think he did. Well, maybe. I don't know. I forgot. Anyway, this was this show started as an unsold pilot, which aired in 1972, and it was titled "Love in the Television Set," and it was on Love American Style. If you remember that show, it was an anthology show, which I love that show very much. And let's see. So Ron Howard was in it. He was the only one. He was the only original one. And besides Anson Williams, who played Potsy, his best friend. Ralph Malph, played by Donnie Most, he was not in it. Henry Winkler as Fonzarelli, he was not in it as well. So it was just them. But they were secondary characters. So he just focused on Ron Howard and Anson Williams. And I saw the pilot. It was pretty weird. And not to see the rest of the cast who are famous for that show. And so they decided, why don't we make it a sitcom? Okay, and at that time, Ron Howard starred in American Graffiti in 1973. And George Lucas, the director, from Star Wars, told the network, "Why don't you, do a TV sitcom based on that, in the 50s, and cast Ron Howard for it?" And they said, "Okay." They did that, and so it started. The ratings weren't that great. Kind of, it was kind of quiet, and it just focused on the two guys, Richie Cayenne and Patsy Weber. His real name was Warren. So then more cast members were added. Like, of course, you had the family, you had the parents, the Cunninghams, and then Tom Bosley was cast, Mary Ross was cast, Aaron Moran, who played Joni, was cast. And then the most of the guys hang out at Arnold's, played by Arnold, Pat Morita, famous for Karate Kid. And he was hilarious in that. I loved him. And then in the second season, they changed it. They brought a little, made it more funny, and then they made the Fonz. He was cast in the first season, but he was like very moody, and he wasn't featured much, But then in the second season, yeah, and he was before he was a minor character, and then he became a main character, and then by 1976 they became a number one program, and because of the Fonts, and he became a big star, a big star, and with his trademarks with "yay," or when he said "cool it," or he would bang on the jukebox and they would start playing the songs. Oh, I love that. It's funny. And my favorite scene is like when he's out in the woods and all the animals are making noise, and then he would say, "Cool it," and they would stop. That was the funniest thing I ever saw. It was great. And then, so a lot of people said that the Ron Howard sort of was pushed in the background because of the Fonz. It seemed that way, but Ron Howard said in an interview, "No, I didn't mind. That was fine." He didn't, yeah, because they became friends, and they still are to this day. Then as the years went on, they added more people. Like Pat Morita left, and then you had Al Molinaro, Officer Murray Murray from The Odd Couple. He was cast, and also have Scott Baio as Chachi Arcola. And he became popular. Every time he entered the stage, the women would start yelling and screaming like that. It was crazy. So most of us featured on the guys. You have Patsy, Richie, and Ralph. Ralph was the practical joker on the show. And sometimes they were scared of the Fonz. Sometimes if the guys did something stupid, he would know about it, or they tell Fonz. And he seemed like a hoodlum, but he was the most responsible guy on the show. He says, "No, don't do that. Don't do that." And of course, like in the beginning of the program, like the first theme song, where they showed old 45 that you play on a jukebox, and then they played "Rock Around the Clock" by Bill Haley and the Comets. That is, excuse me. And then they changed the theme song, and then we know Sunday, Monday, Happy Days, and then that came, and that stuck to all the way through the end, the show. Then, like I said, they introduced other characters, and also they introduced Laverne and Shirley. They appeared on the show a few times, and then they got their own show in 1976, and that became the number one show at the time, and that was more popular than Happy Days. And go figure. So I like that. I hate to say this, but I like that show better than Happy Days. I really do. That one was wackier, crazy. It's like, ooh. The women were. They did like Lucy and Ethel stuff. Like that. So I still love the show. Anyway, um, so as time went on, like in 1980, Ron Howard decided to quit, and he wanted to be a director. Excuse me. Excuse me. And so he left, and then Fonzie took over the lead. Even though he was sort of a family member in a way with the Cunninghams. He lived above the house. He lived in the garage, and he was there. Um, but everyone wanted to wait for the Fonz, to see him on his bike and with his leather jacket and all that. And as time went on, people left. For example, Ralph Mouth left the same time with Richie Cunningham in 1980. And then they had the kids feature, Chachi and Joni. First, Joni didn't care for him, but they got together. Then they got their own sitcom, Joni Loves Chachi, lasted for a year. Then they came back. And then they got married at the last show. Joni and Chachi. That is. I think Ron Howard was there. I don't know about the other guys. No, I don't think so. I don't think Patsy and Ralph were there. No. But Patsy stayed almost all the way at the end, but he left in the last season. So like that. But Anson Williams, who played them, became he became a director too. Television like that. Okay, so right now I'm going to play the promo of Happy Days. This was from 1974. I remember this promo very well. This features the voice of Tom Bosley, who plays Howard Cunningham. And in the promo, they have Ron Howard as Richie Cunningham. And I remember this one very well. And I'm sure a lot of people did when they watched it. So so sit back and here's the promo for Happy Days from 1974. And I'll be right back, folks. Thank you.
Tuesday on ABC. Happy Days.
Remember those carefree years when you were young and you had everything to look forward to? Well, our family certainly does.
All we had was some beer and
Teeny weeny glasses.
How many teeny-weeny glasses did you have?
72.
It all happens here on the Happy Days.
Okay, everyone, I'm back. I hope you enjoyed the promo for Happy Days. With the teeny weeny glasses of beer. I remember that. That was funny. That was when Richie went to a party, and I think it was like a frat party. It was. It's been ages since I've seen that episode. The funny thing is, the show is on DVD. Not all the seasons are there, but the music's changed, and it's a huge mess. So they got to work that out. So I don't know, but it's still on reruns on TV. You can watch it anytime if you'd like. If you're in a mood, there were a few things that were memorable on the show. First, there was Fozzie called Joni Shortcake, and it was nice, but he kept calling her that even when she was growing up to be a beautiful lady. That. Also, there was "sit on it." They said that when somebody was mad at one another, excuse me, and then or someone would say something stupid, they say "sit on it." I remember one time Marion Cunningham said that to the Fonz, "sit on it," and he was at the door and he got shot. He got shocked because they had some sort of argument, something like that. And I don't know what else. There was something else. I'll think of it. Or like what Richie sang, I found my thrill on Blueberry Hill. He did that all the time. And or Bucko. He used to say Bucko a lot. Remember that? I can't think of the other thing. Well, it'll come to me. Anyway, the show ran until 1984. July 19th, that was the date. And it ran for 11 seasons. The ratings didn't do well. It was the cast seemed tired and they wanted to do other things. And so I understand that. And then it went into reruns. Even the show was still on. And then it went to reruns in Chicago in, I don't know, probably 79, 78, 78, 78, 79, when I was in high school. And it wasn't called Happy Days. It was called Happy Days Again. And it aired on Channel 32, WFLD TV. I watched the reruns too. And yeah, of course, they were edited. So, and that became very popular. Yeah, it really did. And so people talk, and the cast were very close, really, really close. They got together, they played softball, they had reunited in functions in Hollywood. Excuse me, and then some had passed away, which is sad. Like Tom Bosley, he passed away years ago. Erin Moran died, which was that was terrible. She had not an easy life after that. Of course, Pat Morita, he passed away. The other guys are still living, and Marion Ross is still alive with us. She's 95. She's doing very well. God bless her. She's a wonderful lady, wonderful actress. I've seen her do other things, but she's great. She really is. And so that's about it for Happy Days. So when you're in the mood to watch something from the 50s, watch a rerun of Happy Days, like I do. It's still funny. It really is. It's still a funny show. Yeah. Sometimes they're inconsistent with the clothes, because later in the years the hairstyles, it doesn't match the 60s when it's set. The fonts still remain the same all the way to the end, but the show ended like it was like 1964 that was set last, and the font still looks like a 50s greaser. He should have changed his wardrobe, but he wore the same thing. Once in a while, he would wear a suit. Not really, but he would wear that leather jacket, and also with a tie. The jacket is in the Smithsonian Institute in Washington, D.C., and I saw it when I went to Washington. I saw the jacket, and it looked beautiful. It had behind a glass case, and I saw that. As for Henry Winkler, one of the nicest men in the business, he wrote a book. He's still acting. He on Twitter he talked to me once or twice, which is nice. So I guess he's a fan of Chicagoland, even though he's not from Chicago. I guess not. So that was wonderful. It really is. Hopefully he'll be listening to this show. I don't know. If he does, great. Or maybe the others will. That's up to them. Okay. Right now, excuse me. I hate this coughing. Right now I'm going to talk about Zimmerman's Cut Rate Liquor Store. That liquor store was founded by Max Zimmerman. And he was known as Max the Hat because he wore this hat, this Stetson hat, all throughout his life. And also he was known as the Hat. Let's see. And he opened, and then he started in the liquor business very early in life. And the first store opened at 154 North Wells Street in 1933. So it was right after the 18th Amendment. You know what that means. They repealed you know, the alcohol. You know, and I think he knew Al Capone at the time. I think he did. I'm not sure. Like that. So anyway, he ran that business for many, many years. And when I was a kid, I used to see this store when I was downtown, and I see the big red letters, you know, Zimmerman's, you know, like that. And that place was huge. And when you go in this, I never went into the store. I wish I did. And he ran it like a tight ship. And he was probably a great businessman. And they had all kinds of liquor, wine, beer, probably imported, probably hard to find liquor as well. And then it moved to 213 West Grand Avenue. Then Max Zimmerman, he passed away on, let's see what date, March 20th, I believe, 1998. And he was 88 years old. He lived a long time. You know, he did. And at the time, you know, when he died, the original hat was bronzed, which his son said in the Tribune. And he had a, you know, and it hangs in the store. I wish I'd seen that. And the reason he wore that hat was he was bald, and you know, maybe he was self conscious, so he wore this hat indoors. I think it's kind of impolite to wear a hat, so he just wore it. I don't know if he wore it at home. I doubt it. So, but he traveled a lot, you know, to find you know, some types of wines and liquors, you know, so he can have them in the store. You know, like France, Italy, you know, so he could stock up like that. So, and oh, here's the story. He once he sold newspapers at the same location, which was at Randolph and Wells. And he's, according to his obituary, he sold a newspaper to Al Capone. And Al Capone said, "Give the kid a sawbuck." So that was great. You know, so he met him face to face. Ooh, that was scary like that. Anyway, so he worked day and night every day, practically. I don't know. I guess he went home, then went back, and all that. As for the liquor store, there is merchandise of that. You know, like for example, decanters. There was one that's shaped like a Z. You know, that starts with his first name. There were others one that's shaped like the store, and other kinds of decanters. They're very those are collectible, and you can find them on eBay. You could do that, and so it's funny. But I think I believe I made friends with her granddaughter. I think it was his granddaughter, and she's a very nice lady, you know. And I don't know about the other family members. I don't know if they're still alive. So I hope they're listening once this podcast is published. You know, we'll see. So I wish I met the man. That would have been interesting to do. So I don't know when the liquor store closed. You know, because I moved to Grand Avenue in 1989 or 90, and I think probably a few years later they closed up shop. So I have no idea exactly. So that's a shame, but it's one of Chicago's businesses that vanished, and it's still remembered to this day. Okay. Okay, that's it for this show. I'll do a recap of what I talked about. I talked about the 50th anniversary of the TV sitcom Happy Days, and also Zimmerman's liquor store. I think it's cut right. Sorry about that. You know, but or is it cut rate? I think it's cut rate or cut rate. Cut rate. Yeah, I think so. Anyway, Yep, cut rate liquor stores. Sorry, folks. All right, so this podcast will be published later on today, wherever podcasts are available: Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music. Also, it'll be on Overcast, Breaker. Also, it'll be on my blog, vanishchicagoland.blog. Also, it'll be on my YouTube channel, Vanish Chicagoland Stories. Again, if you want to listen to my podcast, go to YouTube, hit the subscribe button. You will listen, get a notification. You can listen to past episodes if you like. Also, be sure on my social media accounts: Facebook, X, LinkedIn, Reddit, Threads, and Instagram. Okay. I don't know if I'll do a podcast Saturday. Probably. I have the reunion coming up. Probably have time. Yeah, I think I will. Probably in the morning. We'll see. And then I'll talk about the reunion, which will be a lot of fun. Ugh. It's 4 days. It's getting close. So this is Pico Stein, your host for Vanish Chicagoland Stories, the podcast. Thank you for joining me. It was snowing yesterday, at night. Now it's kind of slushy and wet and blah. That's awful. But according to the weather report, I'll probably get 1 inch by my house. So shoveling will be a little easy. Maybe, but if it's too heavy, no, just leave it. Because it's going to melt. Like that. If not, I'll do it tomorrow. We'll see about that. Okay. So here's bye-bye for me, and here's a little traveling music from Ray Rayner saying bye-bye-bye. Take care, everyone, and so long.
We have to go. Bye, bye, bye.